Hey, well, welcome to the Dream Labs. Dr. Contrast Live here. Hope everybody's well, and I just want to take a moment here to kind of go over a little bit of a review before we get the finish touches on this Manticore and the hanger variant. And just want to bring up the speed here. I just added some little things yesterday, getting in some of the architectural pieces and so forth, and lining that up, and getting a little bit of warmer tones in the background, and add a little bit of human scale, for example, a little more detail in the buildings. And we'll go back today, and I think the real battle plan is to really kind of finalize this guy by putting some sky tone in, putting some a lot more detail into the actual ship itself, and doing a bit of the Bennu language with some of the tiling pieces and so forth, and some of the patterns we were looking at in the previous illustration. So that's the intent for today. I think we really wrapped it up. I'm really pleased with the fact that we've taken a nice course of action here in going from the attack version, which is very highly lucrative, extremely dynamic, and a lot of color involved, into something more sedate here. It's kind of, it just has an evil look to it and a nice physical presence. I just really like the fact that that it has turned out to be a real good statement. And the real reason for putting it together and going in the second phase illustration was to illustrate the scale of this thing, because we couldn't see it in the attack version. The attack version was much more in-flight, very extreme angle and attacking, and you couldn't really detect how massive this thing is. This is about a 20 to 40, probably 30 to 40 meter ship itself. Again, the human scale really helped to give that story here. So let's kind of get out of here and start putting a little bit of, we're going to start putting the sky tone in first. Pardon me as I just mix up a little bit of pastel. I'm using pastel here as a mixture. Just kind of get some really, let's kind of get the tough spots in place first down to ground level, just so we can get that in. We'll kind of dust this in. And we use some of this to just kind of fill in some of the blanks, some of the small tiny spaces. We can kind of get some character into this thing. Just a touch here and there, get that started at some of the tough spots. And we'll reflect a little bit into the engine system here. So while we've got that in that state, I'm going to come back and just lay some dust in and come back and clean up some of the areas that are back to the architectural statements themselves. We don't ruin that or cover that up. And then come back in with a little bit of sky tone detail, a little bit of cloud mass in here. Just going to clean the buildings up just a touch, so I'm going to kind of muddy that up just a bit. Back to the highlight here again, this guy, and then this guy. Keep the sky intact, and then this, and just enough. Let's get rid of this for the time being. We'll come back and reflect a little bit more of that sky. We may have some time to detail that appropriately here. So I just want to start here, just very loosely, getting some of these pieces in place. And there we are there. Get that down, and put a little bit of cloud pattern back in there, just off in the distance, just a little bit more highlight back in there to kind of strengthen this shape just a little bit more, so it's not so bold down at the base here. Just enough character to get to kind of, let me clean this up just a bit here. That's kind of helping to define where we are with this space in the hangar itself, and get a little bit more distance work in there. Maybe just a little more drama in here to kind of scrub it along, just a little more sky tone. Yeah, it's just a touch here of pastel to kind of warm it up a little, or cool it down. Just kind of carry that on through. See what that does. It kind of gives a little more sense of depth. You come back in through here, add a little bit more highlight off of this thing, kind of get some character change in through here. And again, just slowly just dusting it out, so we can a lot of just good ride in this thing. So it doesn't look too foreboding. There we are. That's kind of helping a little bit here to get that pattern set down below. Again, that sky base in, and again up and through here. And now let's go back in and get this thing up on top here and get a lot of the larger surfaces put in place. See if we can come back just with some very light dust here first. We'll get that all put away. Let's start from the very top and just slowly bring in a little bit of sky as we go through this thing. Keeping it pretty abstract here at this stage of the game, so it doesn't get too confusing here. Bring it into the surfaces itself. A little bit of dark tone back in through here and behind the buildings. Just little by little of warm, just give us a little more aspect in through here. Try to create some cloud pattern in there without getting too bold with it. There we are there. And again over here, just a touch more on this side. It won't take much. We've got a lot of area to work with here in terms of getting it all put aside. So it's not going to take an awful lot. I don't want to really cloud it up too much. I just want to give it enough character. And so a little more purple in here. Some deeper purple, a little bit more blue. Kind of mix it up a little bit. Drop it in. See what we can come up with there. Just a little more tone through here that kind of separates the buildings just a bit more. There you go. That's starting to look a little warmer. much more presence to it, pardon me. So that's kind of putting that together just nicely. Just and I'll come back with a little bit of an eraser here. Let's get some of this up off the building structure itself. And there it is there, a little bit of clean up there. Get some of these edges in place. It's going to just drop this over just a bit. There we are, a little more of that into place. And we'll just kind of see what this starts to do here. Oh yeah, maybe just a little bit more, just a little bit touch of purple down below here so it doesn't look so abstract or just different here. Just a little more tone, yeah, that helps. Bring that in, down to the horizon line. Yeah, a little bit deeper as we come downhill here. And again, let's get this guy cleaned up just a bit. A little bit of that edge. And maybe just a touch more right up in through here. So it look there, just kind of, there we are. That starts to help kind of put that piece together here. Now let's see if we can come up with some, a little bit of cloud pattern here to give it more of an earth character here. So let's see what happens. Let's see what that looks like here. Yeah, there you go. That's got a little more jump to it. That's just nice and simple. Might do the same thing down below. It's a bit too intense down here yet. Let's kind of drop this back just a bit more. Yeah, that's better. Let's see, where's that other stick here? We're just going to take more tone out of this thing to kind of drop it back just a bit more, a little bit too much. Yeah, that's starting to look better. Okay, let's see here. Let's got that. Just a touch more sky up in there and add what we've lost a little bit. We'll kind of come back in and fill some of the gaps. And there we go. A little deeper in the corners. Rounding that out just a touch. Over on this side just a bit more and let it kind of fade into the backdrop there. A little bit odd in through here. Just see if we can soften that out just a bit more. Right in there, and maybe just a touch right up in there. There we are. I think that's looking pretty solid. I don't want to go too much further with that as far as sky goes. It puts enough presence in it to kind of give it a little bit of character. And I think that might work. See if we can get this up to speed a bit here. Let's see if we can't get a little bit more of that reflected in the vehicle as well. Pardon me, I just lift that just a touch. Let's get a little bit more of that tone into the upper pieces of the vehicle. Let's kind of reflect that a little bit and a little bit of that. And just a touch more over here. Yeah, it kind of tastes it. Yeah, I think that's going to look out right. That's going to work out pretty well. I'm just happy with the fact that there's not a lot there just enough color to kind of give us a semblance of sky. A little more blue in there. Not overwhelming the composition. It just kind of drops it all in because it's more of an atmosphere to deal with here. So let's see if we can get rid of the tape and what that looks like here. Let's go back and get this all straightened up. There's a mask line we kind of work with there. Kind of keep it in frame. That's that. Now maybe we'll just kind of come out of this with just breaking that surface just enough with this so it just don't get too, there it is. Just to break that hard edge line up there just a bit more. There you go. What do you think, gang? Got together pretty good here. I think that's got some pretty good substance to it as far as tone goes. Getting that sky tone to go back into place really, I think, helps quite a bit. And it just kind of completes the fact that it goes from cool to warm back to cool again. It kind of keeps it, the buildings keep it rather confined. Good statement there in terms of getting little pieces and parts put together and not missing too much of the, let's see what this, get this out of the way here. Not missing too much of the, let's get that down. Get rid of some of that pastel there. A little more boldness down below here. Just take some of this out. A little bit more. I just want enough of a blush down there to fill in the corners. So it takes it all the way from sky tone right down to ground line or horizon line. So, and I think that's going to do it pretty nicely right there. That's pretty cool. Comes together. Hey, hi Chip, how are you? Good to have you on board there, man. I'm just trying to put together some final little pieces on the sky tone, keeping it nice and lucid, more of an earth character, and just enough sky there to kind of bring the whole composition together. So I just got through washing that in. Chip, what do you think? You just passed the acid test from your point of view? Pretty good? Good to have you on board here, Doctor. I just wait for your response. Thank you so much for joining me. Won't be able to stay for the whole stream. Got some work. No problem at all. Yeah, that's hey, thanks very much, Chip. If you have to run a little bit, I certainly understand, but do want to take a moment to thank you for the time spent here. So now we've got the sky in place here. It kind of brings all the composition together. Let's go back and do a little detail work on some of the highlighting we've talked about earlier and put that together. Just going to go back into this thing. Okay, get some highlight in here. Let's turn this just a bit here. I'm going to get the highlights on the canopy and get this thing to read a little bit bolder. Just saw your note there, Chip. Thank you very much. I think it's been don't forget, a lot of your input in this thing has really been helpful. And really been a nice variation in theme. I think the directive between going in, for example, to the actual attack version and then getting this more of a grounded piece so we get an idea of what the scale of this beauty is has been extremely, extremely helpful as far as let's put a little bit of hot spot back into here. Let's get this guy up to detail. Just adding enough information here to get this thing to run for us here. So again, Chip, your input has been absolutely terrific here, so I really appreciate it. Good stuff to have you on board. If you have to fly, let me know, and we'll go from there, Doctor. Let's see, let's get this highlight back into place here. A little smoother transition. Come right down that seam line, right down that seam line. Now let's get this guy, really the boldest portion where this thing begins to step into the actual canopy itself. Now let's get this underneath. Scrub that just a bit. And that's ground reflection. And then just a bit more. Right about in there, just enough watercolor just to kind of give it a little more scoop. I don't put too much into this. I just want to make sure it starts to read nicely as a hollow back into it and get that scalp to work here for us. And just kind of walk that back just a bit here. There it is. Going to blend that in. And let that cycle kind of work for us. Just let that go right about there. Let's see what that begins to do here. So far so good. I don't want to add too much more than just some little touches here and there as far as aspect goes. A bit of that far side canopy to work here for us. reflected ground in there. Take advantage, a little bit more hot spot in this glass area here, so we just kind of bring it up just a bit more. There it is. That's a lot healthier. Let it kind of blend in. There we go. This big bold wash. That kind of helps get that canopy. It really kind of pulls it all together. What do you think, Chip? These highlights help a lot. I was finding a lot of blackness on the front with the wing canopy engines being totally blacked out. Yeah, I think that's kind of, I think it all come together here, Chip. Let's see what happens here. Let's get a little bit of this on the leading edge. A little bolder inside that nacelle. Engine system, same thing on this side, just a little bit bolder. There we go. What do you think, Chip? It's coming along and sparkling it up for you now. I think that's kind of put some real hot spot into this thing and really helping kind of clarify. As I said yesterday, a lot of the drawing time was put together, put the architectural piece in. Now we're going to go back in today and just really detail the daylights out of the ship itself. And just got to put a highlight in, put enough impact in this thing to really make it sing. So let's hopefully it all works together here, Chip. Let's kind of put some hot spot along here as well. A little more definition in those wanes. And again, along through here. There we go. There we go, Chip. I think that was pretty strong. I mean, I'm not going any further than that with some of the definition here. Just let's see if we can get some of this to work here. Pardon me. Just do this just for a second here. Let's get some of these guys, this turret system, to work a little bit for us here. Hot spot. There it is. And just a touch more, maybe right down the line here with this guy, a little bit of highlight. And I think we have a bit of a screamer here, I think. Chip, what do you think? Enough said? Looking pretty good there all the way through. Not bad at all. It's just starting to really kind of come together here as far as the theme is concerned, and being very present about just being very delicate in some areas here, but not too much vanilla, not too much fluff. Just a bit more highlight up on top here. Just not too much. Yeah, I think that's a nice balancer to kind of bring that into play here. Enough sky. Architecture kind of warms it up a little bit, and then the actual composition itself, the actual ship really comes in. Let me clarify this just a bit better here. This engine system. Let's get this guy to break nicely here. Mows the corner off. That makes it cleaner. hot spot here. Kind of fades back once you lay it in there just a bit more. And that's pretty strong right there, Chip. What do you think? Just on the cusp of being too busy. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, there we are. I think that's enough to take it right there. Just kind of slowing it down just a bit more. So let me get rid of this for a second here. Let's do this. Let's come back and get a nice number 3 grade. Just got to come back and wash some of that out of there, just enough to hold it back. All right, that helps. Just to kind of keep, that's about enough. I'm going to take it right there. I think that just kind of slows it all down. I'm going to take a peek at this thing from long distance here. We're getting a little bit more. Yeah, we can probably come back in through here and add a little bit of drawing definition back in underneath this engine. So hang on a second here, Chip. Let's get this all clarified up here. Turn this back. Pull that back just a bit. Take this into the rotunda, the actual ship itself, and then there's some detail here. A little secondary line. Yeah, I think that does it for me right there. I think there's just enough information in there to kind of pull it all together. What do you think, Chip? You buying that? That just about do it. I think that's pretty clean as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I don't want to go any further. I don't want to busy it up too much here in terms of. I see. Very good, Chip. Your assistance really helps here, man. Keep going. Now let's go to the last little bit of information. Let's get some of the Banu language back into this thing. Just kind of go back in through. Just kind of get some of this stuff put together here. Bringing this all into play. And I got that one. Warm it up just a little bit with some oranges. So we have one there, there, and there. Let's see what that does here. Just got to sharpen that up just a bit. More just a touch with a little bit of orange. Kind of take it back into place here. All right, that's that. And again, down and through here, Chip, we'll just add a little bit of this. And up on top. And that just about does it right there, gang. I mean, I just don't want to push it too far in terms of the overall impact or presence that we've got. I think the highlight is helping quite a bit. I think just keeping it nice and slow and simple. The composition's all coming together. I wouldn't want to go any deeper than that. Just kind of get this cleaned up a little bit up on top here. Let that go to press, and let that be the final anthem at it here. And wrapping it all up as a piece for phase 2. We've got the one family in terms of being the introduction side, and that's working out pretty nicely. Putting that all together. Oops, let me get that out of the way here. How's that? Is that good? Second that. There we are. There it is there. So this is really looking good. I think we're starting to come together compositionally. Any further than that, I think we kind of destroy the impact of the sketch. I think what I'm going to look at now is just kind of putting this all together, being very careful and simple. And it's a comment that came up the other day, and that was interesting too, about going into another variation. We did some work during the preliminary setups with the Shadows program some time ago about, pardon me, I have to do this up on top here, about maybe doing a variation in theme here where we actually go into something that actually gets much more of like a transporter or a merchant ship up with the same basic theme. I wouldn't think that'd be a bad idea. I just want to see, what do you think, Chip? Think we could merit one more? Because I think one of the things we talked about was getting a really good massive look at, pardon me here, get this up, a good massive look at what this thing might look like as far as being a transporter. and or a merchant machine. And if that be the case, I might start doing some little thumbnail sketches next Tuesday on my stream. But what might happen back into here to kind of detach this thing, the boom system, and go back in and do a variation on thing where it becomes a big massive troop holder or munitions or a missile carrier of some sort, just to kind of give it more variation on the theme here based on some of the feedback we've gotten from the viewership and the people like yourself too. That could be interesting, I think, as long as it doesn't get too boring, Chip. That's the thing. I want to drag this thing out to make it feel like it's a career pace. I think it's just enough information to take another look at maybe doing a variation on the thing. Maybe it's not so much of a formal render, but a series of little thumbnail sketches to go along with the actual storyline itself, and just putting together a story based on it's a multi-purpose vehicle, and we show that in some sort of something by hand. That sounds. Yeah. By the way, this will be for sale. We're going to put this one together. Here's the attack version there, Chip. We'll have that one ready to go. And I'm getting some duplications made once we're done here today, and also with the Banu version, landed version as well, so in the hangar. So they'll be available for print services on my website, or else maybe through Shadows, but we'll keep you posted on that as well. Let me just kind of finish off this little detail up on top of this building here. I mean, missed it. Just want to make sure we get that in place as well. Relationship one to the other. Put a little bit of warmth in this thing. Overall, it's been a really interesting journey putting this thing together. It's been what I enjoyed the most, really, quite sincerely, was the interface when we started the whole program, in the Shadows program, I think it's almost 4 or 5 weeks ago now, doing some really neat things in terms of conversation. Is it this or is it that? And getting some good feedback to progress the actual form and develop the shape and the surface and the like. It was very interesting. So based on that, as I said before, I think it was really very unique to hear certain statements being made about, it could be a merchant ship, could be this, could be that. So I'll check with some of the gang here later on throughout the day or before the end of the week to see if that's a possibility of adding to the story here. And again, I don't want to get into a situation where it becomes an absolute, boring to no end in terms of keeping the family alive. But I think if it merits a shape and another adjustment in terms of some thumbnail sketches on what it might look like as far as that other variety of vehicles, I'm all for it, because I've learned an awful lot here. It's been a great story in terms of putting all the pieces together, and such a neat system to work with in terms of getting it all organized and doing some really interesting things in terms of shape analysis, function, surface change, color definition, composition. All those things have really been helpful here. Let me just take a moment here and kind of clean this up just a bit. Sometimes you get some ragged edges when this thing goes through a wash system. So I just want to make sure we tighten that down enough to make sure it works. Same thing on this side. And then there we are. I think very happy with the fact that we've gotten that beauty through the process here. Really interesting how it all began to come together. Just enough color in the background. Oh, pardon me. I'll get this thing lined up here. There it is. Really lined up. Okay, hey, thanks, Chip. Really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us here. All the very best, and look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. So take care, Chip. Thank you. Let me just sign this thing off here. Let's call that a wrap. I think we're all set with this thing as far as final tune and information and impact, color-wise, etc. It's been extremely interesting. Very short stream today because I knew we were going to wrap things up. Didn't take an awful lot of time to put all the pieces together. So I think that's going to wrap it up here for today. So thanks so much, gang, for tuning in. Chip, especially to you, and then to those of you in the future who are looking at it, please feel free to drop me a line about what you think about this process or the sketch, the thumbnail of this actual illustration. Please drop me a note at jim@drcontrast.com. That's my email address. And secondly, if you have any commentary or are interested in drawing and so forth, please visit my website at drcontrast.com. An awful lot of neat stuff going on there as far as learning drawing programs, everything from perspective to light source to shadow to line weight, surface generation and so forth. It's a 9-lesson program, so please feel free to take a look at it and let me know what you think. And above all else, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to join me today to wrap up the second variation on the Manticore theme system here in the hanger view. This wraps it up here for today, and I want to thank you again for the time, and really appreciate it. And thank you. Hey, how you doing there, Doug? Good to have you on board. How have you been, by the way? I haven't had a chat with you in a bit. What do you think of this thing? I'll just wait for your response here, Doug. Thanks for joining us. This has been a second generation piece. I don't know if you were with us on the first series, but just to get your feedback on this. This is the final variation on theme here on the landed or the hanger version of this Manticore. What do you think? It's been a real journey, very, very interesting in terms of process, learning how to put some things together. Again, the storyline was great, how it all began, and began to follow through over the course of time to develop the sketches. We have, oh, by the way, too, I want to let you know that we do have I put together a portfolio from start to finish for the individual who won that contest we were talking about on the live stream itself. So we've got the portfolio ready to go, and then we'll get these guys duplicated in print form up on a website for sale, and hopefully you'll join me with that. And once again, Doug, if you're still there, really get your opinion of this this illustration, this concept study. What do you think? If not, I can touch base with you later on here, Doug. And again, thank you for taking the time to join in. It was really great to have you on board here. So all the very best, gang. And I'm going to call this a day here. I really appreciate the fact that you've joined me. And again, a lot of things learned here today. Very interesting set of circumstances. Put this program together. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and again, we'll get some feedback hopefully on this transporter variation piece we're talking about, and if that comes to pass, we'll definitely take a look at that and start doing some study work on what that might look like. If we eliminate, for example, I was looking at the possibility of just eliminating the tail section, the actual cantilever itself, with the gun turret at the back, and adapting some sort of a coupling device back through here, maybe saving a little bit of that, and then adding on some sort of a vehicle or a transported system, whether it's munitions, or if it's troop carrier, or if it's a supply system, some variation on theme. There's a nice family of forms here from the actual attack vehicle, which is here. There's phase one. That was the first one we passed. We did a study on. So it's in the attack mode. Then we got a lot of feedback. It would be nice to see what the scale is like. So let's put this into some sort of a context of a hanger variation, like an earthbound piece, or a planet-bound hanger system, which this is all about, to give us a sense of scale and what it's all about. And then last but not least, the third variation would be this transporter thing piece we're referring to do. So again, to all of you watching, thank you so much. We'll carry on with this piece as we go. And again, please visit my website at drcontrast.com for some drawing information. And if you're interested in that, please pass it along. And I'm looking forward to having some feedback from you. And again, please feel free to drop me a note at my website at jim@drcontrast.com. I'd love to hear from you. And again, thanks so much for taking the time today, gang. And I wish you all the very best. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Probably start a series of sketches. It might be, again, the Manticore variation on theme again, phase 3, or it could be a whole new set of circumstances. We keep you posted as we go here. And changing subject matter, but it all depends on what you want to see. And again, I can't stress enough that it really helps me to know that you would like to see some certain things done, and I'm more than willing to facilitate that if I'm able to. So again, thank you so much, gang. Have a great day, all the very best, and terrific weekend. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at 2:30 when I'm live again on Dr. Contrast, the Dream Labs. All the best, gang. Take care, and I always sign off with this because I think it's extremely important to discuss, and always state that never forget to remember to dare to be great, because you are. Thanks very much, gang. Take care. Look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye now.